What is up, everybody? You are checking out the Uncensored Pro Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, the Hot Commodity ENC.
I'm here too. I'm just being quiet.
Ant's here too. He's being quiet right now for this recap. Covering WWE NXT Stand and Deliver 2025. We're like 2 weeks too late, but we're still covering it because it happened. Live in Las Vegas, Nevada, the day of WrestleMania 41 at like 9 o'clock in the morning. These wrestlers and commentators had to be there at like 5 o'clock in the morning for the show, so they give them their props for that. We're kicking off the night with the NXT North American Champion Ricky Saints defending against All Ego Ethan Page. These two definitely collided in AEW before, so I was excited to see what they were going to do in NXT together. Ethan drops Ricky Saints across the top ropes and then power slam Ricky across the apron. Ricky springboards towards Ethan Page on the floor, but Page moves and Ricky lands straight onto the announce desk. Saints hits a tornado DDT, a spine buster, and a Michinoku driver for a 2 count. Ethan Page hits the confidence breaker and the Ego's edge, but Ricky Saints kicks out at 2. Ricky spears Ethan Page, hits the Rochambeau, and Ricky Saints retains the North American Championship. I thought it was a decent opener for the show. Nothing too crazy, but it's a mid-card title. But it did get the fans interested. The craziest spot was when Ricky went for the springboard move, but Page moved, and Ricky just landed hard on the desk. But good opening match between the two. Next, we have the NXT Tag Team Champions Fraxiom defending against Hank and Tank. And if you've listened to our other recaps, you know that they are no longer the champions. We knew going into this match that they weren't champions because we've watched SmackDown prior to this. But Nathan Frazier lands a standing shooting star press to Hank for a 2 count. Axiom lands a golden ratio to Tank. And then Axiom Hurricane runs Hank off the apron to Tank on the floor. Hank hits a flying clothesline to Nathan Frazier for a 2 count. Axiom hits a super Spanish fly, and then Frazier hits the Phoenix Splash, but Hank breaks up the pinfall. Hank hits a black hole slam to Nathan Frazier. Sandwich and bang to Nathan Frazier. I guess that's their move. And we have new NXT Tag Team Champions and Hank and Tank. After the match, Fraxiom and Hank and Tank hug. I'm not a big fan of these two, Hank and Tank. They're just sort of big guys, and I don't really know what they're going to do with the tag team titles. I haven't seen much of their work. They did have a good match with Fraxiom, but Fraxiom is a good tag team, and they have matches well with anybody. So we'll have to see what Hank and Tank do. We then get an interesting promo backstage where Lexis King confronts Penn, who's from Penn and Teller, the magicians in Las Vegas. He has the NXT Heritage Cup, and Penn's like, why don't you put it safely behind these bars, and it'll be safe here. He puts a cape over it, and when he pulls the cape back up, the Heritage Cup is gone, but Teller is standing in there. Silly stuff because they are in Las Vegas. We then get the NXT Women's North American Championship 6-woman ladder match. Thea Hail versus Lola Vice, Izzi Dame, Kelani Jordan, Zaria, and Sol Ruca. A lot of action here with the women using the ladders. I won't go into too much detail here. Kelani Jordan landed a springboard split-legged moonsault to Lola Vice and a lion saw to both Tia and Sol on the floor. Thea jumps off a ladder onto all the members of the Colon, and then Sol Ruca lands a Soul Snatcher to a bunch of the ladies and grabs the NXT Women's North American Championship. Sol Ruca is really cool in the ring, and I'm excited to see what she's going to do with this title. Next up, we have the family, which is Tony D'Angelo, Stax, and Luca Cusafino with Angelina Rizzo. Or Adriana Rizzo, versus the Dark State, which is Dion Lennox, Osiris Griffin, and something Sugar, and they have Cutler James at ringside with them. Tony D'Angelo takes control of the match, lands a super belly-to-belly to Sugar onto, I think his name was Cyrus. And then Cutler James rams Luca into the railing. Adriana Rizzo dives onto Cutler James on the floor. Stax has a crowbar, but Tony doesn't want him to use it. And Tony hip tosses Stax onto everyone on the floor. And then Stacks hits Sugar with a crowbar. Tony and Stacks hug, but then Stacks low blows Tony D'Angelo and leaves. And then the Dark State land a triple bomb to Tony. And the Dark State get the victory here with some help of Stacks turning on the family. We'll probably find out why Stacks did that on NXT.
I thought that was one of the better fights.
Yeah,
I like that match.
it was good. It was more of a brawl. It was good, though. I agree. Next up, NXT Women's Champion Stephanie Vaquer defends against Jordynne Grace, Jaida Parker, and Giulia. A lot of G-sounding names here in this fatal four-way match. Jaida Parker hits a doomsday blockbuster onto everybody. Jordynne Grace hits a double German suplex. Jaida Parker then lands a triple stack butt bomb. That's what I call it in the corner. Stephanie hits a devil's kiss to each lady. Jordynne hits a juggernaut to Giulia but gets a 2 count. And then Stephanie hits a spiral tap to Jaida Parker and the SVB. And Stephanie Vaquer retains the NXT Women's Championship. Good match. We know that Giulia and Roxanne Perez are now on the main roster on Monday Night Raw. So we knew Giulia wasn't going to win because we saw her on Raw without the women's title. And we saw Stephanie defend the NXT Women's title on Raw as well. But it was a decent match here on Stand and Deliver. And next we have our main event, the NXT Champion Oba Femi defending against Javon Evans and Trick Williams in a triple threat match. Oba hits a double Samoan drop to both men. Javon Evans hits a flying clothesline to Oba. Trick hits a sit-out FU to Javon Evans for a 2. Javon lands a moonsault to both men on the floor. Oba Femi hits a blockbuster superplex to both men. Javon frog splashes, but Oba catches him. Javon lands a cutter and a sliced bread for a 2 count. Trick Williams rock bottoms Oba Femi through the announce desk on the floor. Javon lands a double springboard cutter to both men. Trick hits a trick shot to Javon Evans, but Oba hits a fall from grace to both men, and Oba Femi retains the NXT Championship. My question is, who will be the person to defeat Oba Femi? He's been victorious against everybody that he's fought against, and the ruler Oba Femi has definitely ruled over NXT. A lot of decent matches here. Nothing really stood out to me. I know Ant said he liked the family versus the Dark State. For me, it was a decent show, but really nothing stood out. NXT Battleground will be taking place soon, so we'll be covering that. And yeah, I did think that TNA was better than NXT, but we'll be getting into that when we cover TNA Rebellion. Much more coming your way, so make sure you subscribe, like, and hit that notification bell on YouTube.
Tell your mom.
Tell your mom, and stay safe and stay uncensored.